Boogeyman Ben.
Hey everyone, it's Boogeyman Ben. Hope everyone's doing well and everyone had a great day. This is going to be my second video for Friday the 13th week. As I mentioned in the first video that I did yesterday, I'm trying to do things a little bit differently with this video series just because I've talked about the Friday the 13th movies so much. As everyone knows that's followed this page or my channel for the last 4 years, Friday the 13th is my favorite horror film series of all time. I've said it many times. I've gone through the movies. I've said which ones are my favorites. I've talked about pretty much everything about Friday the 13th I can, from the music to the movies, to which actors are my favorite as Jason. I feel like I've done that. So with this week, I wanted to talk about things that I haven't talked about. Now, some of these things are collectibles primarily because they're things that I have in the room that I haven't really shown because they're in either my display case or somewhere on the shelves that are hard to get to. So it's not easily as accessible as some of my collectibles that I've showcased in videos of past. But the thing I want to talk about today is the oldest Friday the 13th collectible I have. It's something I've had since I was 12 years old. And I'm really excited to talk about this and share it with everyone. And I hope everyone looks forward to this. And please stay tuned. The collectible I want to show off today is this book, which is the novelization of my favorite Friday the 13th film, Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. Now, I got this book back in 1986, in August of 1986, right after the movie came out. My mom bought it for me in a drugstore called Long's Drugs, and I remember it was the same summer that I went to Reno for the first time. Now, a 12-year-old in Reno is not very exciting because you can't go anywhere, especially inside the casinos. But I had this book with me, and I remember reading this book all the way up there. We went with my uncle, my mom's brother, and his wife and their daughter Lonnie. And I remember this was the little. This thing kept me occupied. I remember reading this book many times. It was an easy read, and I had just seen the movie. And this, like I've said many times in the past, that Friday the 13th Part 6 is the movie that first made me fall in love with the Jason character. I had liked him in previous films. I thought that the other Friday the 13th films were great and scary and everything, but this movie made Jason a superstar to me. I just thought Jason was the coolest badass in this film, and I really think it was the first film where Jason was the star. And I also think, as I've said many times, C.J. Graham is just the best Jason, still my favorite of all time. I don't show this book very much because it is really old, and as you can see, it's got a lot of wear on it because I did read it a lot as a kid growing up. I think it's still in relatively good shape for being as old as it is. The thing that's great about this book, the people that haven't read it, is it has an opening that kind of, it bridges the gaps between the films. There's a sticker I actually stuck in there. This is a sticker I got from a vending machine when I was a kid. I forgot that was even in there. There is some pictures from the movie. There's Jason with the mask, and there he is when he rises from the grave, and that's where he breaks the sheriff's back. But yeah, the opening prologue for the book actually goes into depth about what happened to Tommy after the events of Friday the 13th Part 5: A New Beginning. So you find out where he is and what happened to him. Did he kill Pam or not? And then also where he is when the story picks up. It also has the epilogue that was not filmed on the recent special edition DVD of Friday the 13th Part 6. It's the ending where Jason's father comes to his grave, Elias Voorhees, which is really cool. And I remember reading this as a kid going, oh, that would be awesome, if they had ever done that. This was before DVDs and behind the scenes and cut scenes and things like that. So it was something that even as a kid I was like, that's not how the movie ended. But I kept thinking maybe in Friday the 13th Part 7 that Elias Voorhees would show up. And here's some more pictures on the other side of the cover here. So you have Darren pulling the gun on him, you have Jason in the grave, and then you have Jason ripping Hawes' heart out. So yeah, just one of my favorite all-time Friday the 13th collectibles. It's one I actually keep in the display case because I just, like I said, I try to keep it nice as it can be for an old novel. But yeah, it was something that I really loved as a kid. I carried it with me quite a bit when I was little because it was the only Jason item I had. I started drawing my own Jason stories pretty much, after Friday the 13th Part 6 Jason Lives. And that was all I had as a kid. There were no toys, there were no comic books. So this was my one souvenir from what was to be my favorite horror film series. So that's it. Just wanted to again talk about my very first Friday the 13th collectible, one of my prized possessions that I have here in the room. I want to thank everyone for taking the time to watch this video, and stay tuned for part 3, which will be coming tomorrow night. So I hope everyone has a great evening. Take it easy. Peace.